and we want to talk a little bit about mental health and human rights. And I have two guests joining me on set this morning, Ms. Anella Singh and Stephanie Sankar, both LLB honors students from Hugh Law School. Is that right?
Yes.
You see? So, you see, we keep the youth involved and get everything out there for the people. So, good morning and welcome to you both. We are talking mental health and human rights. When we talk about mental health, what do we talk about?
Mental health has to deal with the well-being of a person. Psychological, emotional well-being. And mentally healthy people are usually people who are generally happy and content in their life, and they carry on very high-functioning lives.
And we talk about mental health and human rights. What exactly are we talking about?
Well, when we talk about mental health, we really look at vulnerable groups. We look at groups that may not be protected through legislation as much as we would like them to be, and therefore they are prevented or, prevented from enjoying all of the benefits of their human rights.
Right. And as young people who graduated from law school, what do you want to see happen?
Well, what we want to see happen is that we really want to bring awareness to certain issues. We really want to highlight human rights. And with the Human Rights Law Clinic of the Hugh Law School, our roles are to advocate and to bring public awareness, public education. So the projects that we have really are geared towards just informing the public, shedding light on the conversation, and really making sure that this is brought to the forefront.
Because when you mental health, people tend to make fun of it, and they would laugh at people who may be having a mental illness or something, but we don't ever seem to have a conversation on, how do we prevent that from happening?
And that's what we are trying to do at the Hugh Law School. We are trying to raise awareness and get people to raise their words. Raise your voice now, so 20 years down the line, someone doesn't have to wonder where they lost their voice in history. And that is what we are trying to do, to promote this attitude of respect and tolerance and remove the stigma and discrimination associated with mental illness.
So how are we going to do this, or how are you going to do this? What do you have planned?
Well, I think everyone has a different role to play in this. In our roles as future attorneys, we advocate. Professionals can speak to their clients, but the everyday citizen, what they need to do is just keep the conversation going. We really want to normalize mental illness. We really want it to be where people would seek help and they wouldn't feel ostracized or they wouldn't feel shunned, because there's this culture where when we hear someone has a mental illness, we become afraid. We think, they're vulnerable and they can act out at any time and you don't know what to expect. So we really want to change that discrimination, that stigma that mental illness people face.
Yeah, and as you said, the conversation needs to go somewhere. And as young people, you are piloting the conversation.
Yes.
So it is part of the Hugh Law School's program?
Yes, we are a part of the clinic, and as Steffi said, we're just promoting advocacy.
And is it because you have to do it, or it's something that you are passionate about?
No, this is something I'm very passionate about, because I think this group of mentally ill people are a very vulnerable group in society, and they need a voice. They need someone to speak up for them, and I think we should all do it. You don't have to be an attorney to be an advocate for human rights and for mental health problems especially. Anyone can do it.
And how do you feel as young people being able to stand here and talk about this and get the conversation going? I mean, it's not a conversation we have often.
Yeah, well, that is really, this is a great experience for us leading up to what we will be doing in the future. We intend to advocate for those who can't advocate for themselves. So to be able to start so early and to be able to advocate for a group that is very important and that we see very prevalent right now. There's a conversation about whether we are equipped to deal with persons who have mental illness. So to start this conversation from now, it's very rewarding.
What do you want for the people who have mental health issues? What do you want to see? At the end of this, what exactly do you want to get out of it?
I want to see a change in the attitude of society and remove the stigma and the discrimination people have, and they stereotype and put a taboo on people with mental illness, and I want that removed. And I want the conversation...
Do you think we're mature enough to, as a people, do you think we're mature enough?
As a people, I think we're making steps, little steps. I'm willing to take that, but I wanted to move a little faster towards...
Building on what Anella said, there are certain laws that are in place as well that we really need to just reevaluate. Some of these laws, for example, Section 8 of the Immigration Act, it prohibits persons who have mental illness from entering Trinidad and Tobago. But the words that are used in the law is that people who are idiots or imbeciles or feeble-minded, right, they shouldn't be allowed in Trinidad and Tobago. And I think when we have legislation that speaks to such discriminatory terms, we really need to step back and reevaluate the laws and just make it more friendly towards those people.
Because those words are, some people would say derogatory. Yeah, and we need to change it. Anella, Singh, Stephanie, Sankar, thank you both for coming on. I think that this is a good conversation for people to get involved with. And this series on human rights will continue tomorrow. Tomorrow we're talking about sexual harassment in the workplace and human rights. And on Friday we're talking about LGBTQIA issues and human rights. So you can stay with us on Now for everything. But now we take a break and come back with much more.